Hello, how are you guys today? Today is Happy Saturday, and I am Sacred Para. I'm here with Gloria, and we have another IG Live for you today. We will be still on the series topic of storyline content creation. And hello, how are you, Southern Doll Charm? I thank you guys for spending time with me and with my guests who I bring on here in order to continue the conversation about storyline content creation. Today, I have my sister and my friend Nisha K, and I am very excited about bringing her on here. So give me a moment. I'm going to actually call her in right now. So you guys are definitely in for a treat. Hello, my husband. I see that you're on here right now. Hello, socialite crew. Hello, how are you? Hi, how are
I'm
you?
good.
Hello. Doing good. It's so good to see you in person.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. How was your Saturday going?
It's been busy, but it's good. It's good though.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, in case you guys don't know, this is Nisha K. This is her. She's so. I love your page. Almost everybody I bring on here is just like I'm a fan of your page. I'm going to be talking to you today just about your background with writing and photography. I'm going to be taking my own personal notes, so you'll be seeing me get my pen and my paper together right now. Okay. So you'll be seeing me writing because I like to be able to learn from you guys and what you guys do, and we all do things different with our storyline. And one of the main things, hi mom, that this whole entire series is about is really just sending that message that Bob Ross did with his painting. He said anyone can paint, and we want you guys to know that anyone can write. So regardless of what your background is with it or your background with photography, you can do this. So I'm actually going to just go ahead and start, ask you some questions as far as first one just being, what is your background with writing?
I don't really have a strong background in writing. I started out as a photographer, and that's pretty much what I claim to be. I have an aunt who's a writer who's told me years ago that I was going to be a writer, which I always thought was funny because I'm not one of those people that has a way with words. I prefer to use my photography to get my point across. So I haven't taken any writing classes or anything like that. It's just pretty much trying to convey what I want to say through my photos. So.
Okay, so what is your background with photography? Because I know that you had sent out a post before, I don't know how long ago it was, when you were talking about being in school and using your dolls as your models.
Well, right now I have a background. I have a bachelor's degree in graphic design, so I finished that a couple of years ago. I'm currently attending SCAD University. I'm getting my master's in photography, and I'm using the entire degree. My thesis is using dolls, miniatures, and dioramas. Kind of had to fight a little bit with that one, but that's pretty much the gist of my photography, and that's the way I express myself. And I kind of want this medium to be taken seriously, and I kind of feel like if I can do it on an academic level, then I've kind of proved my point. So right now I'm halfway through the program, so I got another year and a half to go, and I'll be done.
Well, congratulations with it, especially during the pandemic.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people kind of, they fell off from school because of the stress of the pandemic and just trying to maneuver with life. So I give you a hand. And even when you put out the post where you said that you had to really fight for the right to have the miniatures be recognized, I was like, way to go, keep on doing it, because it isn't really always recognized in institutions as being a serious art, but it is still art.
Yeah, it is. And for most people, I think in the academic art world, they kind of see it as a little bit cliche. It's been done. I always tell them it hasn't been done my way. So you haven't seen it done my way. You may have seen people, and typically, not everybody, but typically the people I've seen in the academic world that's done work with miniatures and dolls, they're not in this community. So they kind of take it as a little of a joke. It's not in a serious manner. So for me, yes, I want to show them that this is an art form. This is not a joke. This is not cliche. This is not passe. This is art. you know, however you
Exactly.
it is from top to bottom, it is considered art. I don't have the power to just go out and find a scene and shoot it. I have to create it. So to me, there's even more input into that, because I have to stage every single last detail in order to get that photograph to come out as realistic as possible, you know, where someone else can just walk in and be like, hey, sit here and take a picture. And then the same thing, working with dolls, I don't have expression. So I have to use everything in my diorama to kind of let you know she's sad, she's depressed, she's angry, she's happy, you know, she's like, you know, she's in whatever mood. I don't have that human body to be able to express any kind of emotion. So I
Exactly.
have to put all of that into my photos. And to me, I think that takes even a different kind of skill set in order to do that. So
I fully agree. And one of the main reasons why I contacted you, because for the most part, when we've been talking about storyline content creation, we've been talking about like an ongoing storyline.
right.
So like with mine, I've got Gloria, I've got Nita and Tony and Raymond. So you see them throughout my timeline. In your case, each one of your photos are kind of different as far as your characters. Now I know like Thanksgiving, you had like the Friendsgiving. So we were able to see Moon and everyone else who was in that particular series. But then you may have like your other integrity dolls that you're using, which are not going to be consistent with the other photos. But the reason why I asked you is because I love the way that you use your details and your lighting to set the mood for the story of each photo. Because each one, and if you haven't been on her page, definitely go on there. Because the way that you use your photos, I mean, the lighting, just like you said, it conveys the mood for what that doll is experiencing and what they're feeling. I wanted to kind of spend a little bit of time on the photo that we had discussed and was chosen for the flyer. And that was the one with your doll lying on the floor with the records around her.
Right.
And when I first read that, that was just, I was so glad you were like, go with that photo. Because that one right there, you had so many, but that one and the story that you had with it, it just like, it touched right here. I really did like it. So if you could explore on like how you did that photo and the emotions that was there, because you could really feel the emotions that was there. And you didn't have to have a dialogue written.
Well, for that one was based off of a memory. I plan to kind of do that moving forward, but you know, sometimes when you go a little personal, people get, you know, a little uncomfortable sometimes. But this one was about my mom. Growing up, my mom is a military wife, mother of three, always busy. She's extremely creative. I always tell people I didn't take any interior design. I basically learned from her every Saturday, once a month. We had to rearrange the entire house. We had to move all the furniture out the room, accessories, everything, and then she would start from scratch. I mean, this was once a month. So you imagine as a teenager, you're like, really? I got to spend my entire Saturday morning rearranging furniture, rehanging pictures that was already on the wall. This is like the dumbest thing ever. But, you know, it helped me later on down the road because, you know, now I do it with dioramas. So she's the one where I got this love of interior design from, and how I've learned how to decorate my spaces. But I just remember, and it was funny because when I showed her the picture, she didn't think that me and my brothers remembered that memory. When I showed it to her, she kind of teared up and was like, I didn't think y'all, you know, y'all were kind of young. You didn't really remember. But she was one of those people that was a mom's mom. You know, she didn't really take time for herself. Everything was about her family. And so those midnights, you know, it was 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I could hear the music playing. It was always Motown, you know, songs of love, songs of, you know, love lost. And it never was really loud. And it's funny because my brother's rooms were next door to mine. And so we would creep out and we would meet in, you know, in the hallway. And because I'm the oldest, they're like, you go first. Cause you know, if anybody got in trouble, it's gonna be me. So, you know, here we are crawling down the hallway. My 2 brothers are behind me. And we get to the living room and she's just laying there. And it was kind of this unspoken rule. We never moved until she called us forward. And then, and we always came with our blankets and our pillow. Like we automatically knew she was
Oh,
gonna say yes. And so we would crawl up next to her and we would listen. And she's like, just listen. Or sometimes she would tell us stories about how, you know, she went to that concert when she was a teenager, or the first time she heard that song, or when you get older, you'll understand the lyrics of this. And I can kind of remember there was no lights on. It was just lights from outside. And sometimes she would be crying. And as a kid, I didn't really understand what that meant. I thought, oh, you know, the song is sad and that's why mom's crying. But now, you know, I'm 45 years old. I have, you know, 2 sons myself. I've been married. I get it. I get that at that point, that was her peace. That was her recharge. That was however she dealt with her issues, the weight of being a mother, the weight of being a wife, the weight of taking care of a household, the weight of raising, you know, a strong Black daughter, the weight of protecting 2 Black sons. You know, she
yeah.
had all of this struggle on her, and then being, you know, a Black woman herself. So for me, I think that was her way of, you know, kind of resetting, getting her energy back, you know, relaxing. But at the same time, I didn't realize at that age that we probably should have left her alone. That was her me time. But even as a mom, and you're a mom yourself, you know, it's not really your time. So, you know,
No,
you know,
it's not.
it's really still not
It's
your
not.
time. So you just kind of pull them into it. But she kind of used it as a way to give us life lessons. And it kind of came full circle because when my boy started getting a little bit older and my husband is military and he would deploy, you know, it's just me with my
Wow.
sons, I started collecting dolls. And it kind of became my me time. It was the one thing
Yes.
in the house that I owned. You know, I have 2 greedy sons, so no food in the house is fine ever. You know, I don't think I've eaten an entire meal since they probably been 5 or 6. So it's always, you know, they're always in my space, always. Even in my office now, I'm like, really everything in there is pink and black, you would think, but you know. And so it kind of reminded me of that fact that back then hers was music and mine happens to be photography and, you know, playing with my dolls and my dioramas. I always like to tell my sons that they kind of push me into dioramas because I can rearrange the furniture and it never messes up. It never magically, you know, gets broken. You know, I don't have someone who's played basketball for 4 hours and come sit on my sofa and hasn't taken a shower. I don't have to worry about defunctifying my furniture. I don't have to worry about coming home and there's 8 basketball players in my house and like, oh,
Oh, goodness.
you know, they're gonna break.
I understand.
You know, oh, my
Mm-hmm.
house just stinks. So, you know, my diorama, nobody's sitting on it. You know, nobody's eating on it. So my furniture, you know, it's that control part for me. Is, you know, I can put it however I want. I don't have to get anybody. Like, there's too many pillows on the sofa. You know, why is this rug?
I understand.
You know, why is this rug here? It's
Yeah.
fur. That doesn't make any. You know, I'm the only female in my household. Even my dogs are boys, so you know, I don't get the
Oh, good.
right. So I don't really get, you know, the girly all the time. You know, normally they're like, oh, you know. What is a throw blanket for, Mom? Why is it just on the sofa? So, you know, there's no arguments in my miniature world. I do what I want.
There you go.
Know? And so that picture just kind of, that memory kept floating up because I guess my youngest is about to, you know, leave the nest, and it had me thinking about my mom. Yeah, it had me thinking about my mom, and so I did that picture. But the majority of my photos is really about other people in my life. Not all the stories are mine that I tell. So basically, if you're online and you tell me something funny, it's probably going to show up in a picture. Now, mind you, I'm not going to say who said it. And it's not hugely personal, but if I think it's funny, then it's probably going to end up in a photo. One of my photos is, excuse me. One of my photos is my sister-in-law, and it was my favorite because I used to go to her house. She had long, beautiful locks, and I would go to her house. She has music playing. She's in the bathroom. She's twisting, you know. She's twisting. All this stuff is all over the counter, you know, brushes and gels, and you know, and she's normally in a tank top and shorts, and you know, the music is just blasting in the bathroom door, and she's dancing, and she's just twisting her hair. And so I had to do that photo because that was such a huge memory of her, you know, in the bathroom, twisting her hair. And a lot of times I don't tell the people until I post it, and they're like, wait, that's me. Oh, yeah. I remember that, I have a cousin that does, she's a painter. And so one of our marathon conversations at midnight, she had told me how their kids were busy and she just hadn't had time to paint and she missed it. And so I created this photo of a doll, painting, and she's got all her paints there, her photo, her paintings are on the floor. And, for her, even though I can't physically give her that space and time to paint, I was able to do it in a photo. Hopefully
Wow.
she uses that photo to remind her, I need to get back to my painting. I need to make time for it. And the majority of my photos is people in solitude. I'm an introvert. I'm 45 years old. It's taken me that long to be comfortable with being an introvert. But the main thing with introverts is most people think we don't have a life. And that's the complete opposite. And so I like to kind of show, as a solitary life, we still, I don't want to be out partying, but I got something to do at home. It may be reading a book,
Yeah.
but I still got something to do. That means I don't want to stay at your house till 4 o'clock in the morning. I got a diagram I got to do. I got a picture I got to draw. I got 4 books waiting for me to read. I got a puzzle to do.
I understand.
I got Instagram friends to talk to. So I still have a life. It just doesn't involve me.
Said exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't involve other people. And so I like to use, just a singular doll living her life to kind of show that, there's nothing wrong with being an introvert. We have complicated, weird, strange lives, just like everybody else. We just don't share it with a whole lot of people. That's basically.
That's true. That is true. That's so true.
So, yeah.
So I enjoy. So if you guys are listening, one of the key things that you're able to do with your dioramas is being able, I love how you said it. You said that you gave space to your friend to remind her that, hey, I can't really help you with your time as far as you painting, but I can create this image, because so much of what we do in life is off of visualization.
Right.
And so if I can really see myself being able, like with the painting, being able to see myself in a Barbie form painting, then it can like sit in that subconscious, and eventually, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually space is going to open up for me to be able to do that.
Sure. Yeah.
And then being able to take your memories that you have and the funny ones and even like the intense emotional ones, and making them into a diorama form. And I love how you do it, because not only you said that you make it first and then you show them. So it's like, it's really personal.
Yeah.
And then it allows them to think like, oh, you were thinking of me. I didn't even know you were even thinking of me.
A lot of the times that, my close family and friends have now gotten so used to it. They're like, I knew that was going to end up in a photo. Like, I knew that was going to end up. It was funny. One of my cousins, the scene that I did of them hiking, in the scene, I don't hike. My cousin is an avid hiker, her and her husband. And so she posted, during the COVID, she couldn't go hiking. And so I kind of created this photo. And when I gave it to her, she was, I posted it on Facebook, and she was like, oh my God, now I get to go hiking. It's not me, but I'm hiking, because, it was her in her, her eyes, it was her, hiking, literally not hiking. And so a lot of the times I'll start collecting pieces, they'll say something, I'm like, oh, hiking gear. I'll start collecting pieces, even though I'm not a hiker. And then I kind of do my research on Pinterest or on Instagram, and kind of look for, am I doing this right? For me, I have to nail the details. So if I'm going to do a photo on painting, I have to have the little paints. I have to have the paintbrushes. I have to have, the paintbrushes dipped in water. My cousin is an avid coffee drinker. So, there had to be coffee in the photo. My other cousin has locks, so I have to have a doll that has to have locks. I have cousins who have huge afros, so they have to have afros. Like, I want everybody that surrounds me to be able to see themselves in my photography. And so that's kind of, important that they're like, yeah, she has a doll that has locks, or she has one that, has really short hair, or, braids, or, whatever it is. But, in order for me to tell those stories as authentically as possible, I have to be able to have the miniatures and the details just right. And for me, like I said, my biggest thing in order to tell the story with an emotion is through lighting. I only use natural lighting. And
Yes.
whether it's shadows, whether, it's raindrops or, bright sunlight, because typically if you see a room and it's just bright white and it's bright with colors, you feel happy. But then you also kind of
Yes.
know that if it's moody and dark, that, there's some sadness, some depression there,
Yes.
and you kind of reflect on that. It's kind of funny though, I have to admit that normally my dark and moody photography gets more love than the light and airy. And that's always kind of amazing because most people don't coincide miniatures and dolls with sadness or depression or anything else. So I always
Yes.
kind of trippy when I kind of go a little dark and people are still riding with me and like, yeah, I get it, I feel it.
Because it's relating to what, like we as humans are
Yeah.
experiencing and feeling.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I like about how you use your lighting, and how you use your props. And even if you aren't able to find the props like you did with the exercise machine, like she made this exercise machine from scratch, and you would post your process with it and your progress with it. And I was just like, wow. I mean, I'm still amazed by how you did that. Because it looks so realistic. It looks so very realistic. And
well, for me,
I mean, like, how did you do that?
That was a hot pink Barbie bite that I found on eBay, and I kind of searched through ones that looked as realistic as possible, and then it was taking it apart and spray painting it. I want a Peloton. My husband is like, you don't go to the gym enough for me to spend the money on a Peloton. So that's kind of my way of eating my Peloton is in miniature. And a lot of times I have to admit, a lot of the times
there you go.
I buy is because I can't afford it in real life. So I'm like, well, at least I got it in miniature. Or, I can have 100 chairs in miniature and nobody's going to say nothing because they all fit within one box. I kind of go crazy if I did that in my own house. But so that photo really came about because I wanted a Peloton and he told me no. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get my Peloton. It's just going to be a minute.
There you go.
And
there you go. So yeah, I did. I enjoyed how you did that because you used all of your ingenuity in order to make it work. You were like, you know what? Yeah. I may not be able to get that machine, but I'm going to make it realistic for my Barbie. Yeah. So, for my integrity. So I did. I liked how you did that. Now going to your props, because you talked about your details. Now for me, when I'm writing on my story time or my timeline, I use a lot of dialogue with my Barbies. So even if I don't have the details with the props and the pictures, I'll use the conversation to kind of, keep it going. And in order to really get the idea of what, my dolls are saying for the purpose of the story. One of the things that I noticed with yours are the details that you put in it. You had one where the doll was actually watering her plant. And then you see the plant, on the ground, it's shattered. And I loved how you did that because you had all these other plants around her. And so you could tell like this is really important to her. These are her babies, and planting is important to her. So I liked how you had used every space, including of course the lighting, to make that work. So I would like to really explore how important to you are your props whenever you're taking your photos when it comes to telling the story.
My props are everything. I'm not a writer in that sense. So for me, I have to be, a lot of the times I have to be able to tell a complete story in one photo. And I used to do dialogue. Those who've been with me for a while, I used to do a lot of dialogue. I stopped doing it because I get bored halfway through or forget what I was supposed to be doing. And then the photos didn't relate, and it was like, yeah, I forgot what this scene was supposed to be about. So I stopped doing it. And now it's basically putting in enough details for the viewer to be able to like, okay, I get it without her having to say a whole lot. Like, I know that with all these plants in this room and her watering, her dropping a plant is going to be upsetting. That's going to upset her because those are her babies. I mean, she's up on a ladder, watering them, you know, there's a whole bunch of them in the space. So, you know, obviously she's probably talking and singing and dancing with them. And then for her to drop one, you know, and you know, the comment was like, damn, because in essence, you know,
yeah,
that's exactly what you're gonna say. It fell off the top shelf. I wasn't paying attention.
yes,
You know, I almost killed one of my babies. So, you know, and I'm not a plant person at all. So for me, that was more research that I had to do into, you know, making it look realistic, going on Pinterest and Instagram and talking to plant people. And it's like, how many plants is too many plants? Okay, I can just fill the whole room. Got it. And so, you know, in order to make it look realistic, I had to, you know, I ended up breaking a flower pot that I had, you know, cracking it outside in order to get that cracked. And then, you know,
wow,
real dirt from outside and like sprinkle it. Cause you know, if a pot cracks, you know, dirt's going to come out, you know,
true.
so it's going to be a mess that you're going to have to clean up basically. And so for me, it was, you know, going through with that detail. And like I said, I have to have, my details have to be on point. And for me, my miniatures is what really tell the story. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some people who probably just look at my photos and just see it, you know, and move on. But I really want people to look at it, you know, and then kind of form their own story. You know, does this can you relate to this photo? You know, are you a plant person? Or maybe you're not a plant person and, you know, you're into figurines and you drop one. It's still the same thing, you know.
It is.
Your heart's gonna break that, you know, you damaged something that was special to you. No one else may get it. You know, I'm pretty sure if she was human and called her girlfriend, they probably be like, girl, really? Just go buy another plant. But you know, she's heartbroken. That was her baby and she broke it. You know, so, you know, somebody out there was like, oh, I felt that. You know, I got that. So a lot of times for me, it's the funny part and it's the dialogues in my head that may not really come out all the way because I'm not saying it, but at least you're getting, you know, what I'm saying.
Yes,
in a way.
I like that. I like that. So some of the tidbits to really take, if you're taking notes, you may want to add this on there. You may already have it written. I love when you said that you have to tell a complete story in a photo.
Mm-hmm.
And you also said that you go on Pinterest, you do your research.
Yes.
You go on Pinterest, you look on Instagram, you interview and talk to other people who are familiar in that area. If it's an area that you don't really, you know, you're not really into, a field that you're not into, such as with the plants. Because these are things that we need to do whenever we're writing our storyline,
Right.
be it with a photo or if you have an ongoing one where you're following, you know, your story's following the same character or the same kind of characters throughout. Research. There's someone that I've talked to on here, and she'll have her characters in Spain or Italy and different, you know, in Nigeria, and she says I always have to research that area and find out what the climate is like and what are they doing there, and, you know, are they in lockdown and this and that. So that when I incorporate it into my storyline, it's realistic, it's true. So research is so very important. Also, I love how you put yourself into the diorama, because you said, you know, if that were me and I was planting and one crack, you know, there's going to be dirt everywhere. It's going to be an actual mess. So you actually put yourself in there. So that's important for us as writers, you know, put yourself in it. If you were in this situation, how would you feel emotionally, or what would you see around you? Would it be a mess, or would it just be a pot on the ground? So the more, you know, like especially whenever you're doing the one photo as a storyline, the more details that you have, the more that we as the viewers are able to understand it and really grasp it personally. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about also during our live that I really enjoy that you do that I think is very unique is that you do personally interact with your characters. During your Christmas series, you had different conversations with different integrity dolls. And I remember there was one, and although I know having my dolls, you can't change their expression. Very true. But the way that you did the lighting, the way that you positioned her head on the bed, and you said that she was upset because she didn't want any hand-me-downs of the Poppy Parker clothes. She wanted new
Yeah.
clothes. So the way that you did it, just, I mean, you could tell she looked like she was pouting. She looked upset. And I just really did like how you did it. You had another one in that series where you would ask the integrity dollar question. You were like, oh, well, I need to wait until she has her coffee.
Right.
So I like how you did that. Yeah. Someone said they were the funniest ever. I laughed every other day. That's what Socialite Crew said. They were extremely funny and very unique how you were able to put yourself in there and interact. So just like you said that there's a dialogue in your head, even if you don't write it. Well, right there, we were able to grab hold to that dialogue that you had. So what made you do that?
Those came about. I have a soon to be 21-year-old and a soon to be 18-year-old. They're on my Instagram, okay, but they won't tell me what their handle is because so they follow me, but I don't know what their names are. So they came to me, and normally when I share my photos, we have a group chat, and so I normally share my photos, and it's normally with that funny commentary, which is actually what was in my head when I created it. And so, but I never posted it. Normally it's posted, you kind of got to be refined. So I clean it up a little bit, it's like, oh, she's doing it. And so my sons were like, Mom, your captions are boring. Like, why are you not posting what you're putting in the group chat? And I'm like, well, that's just for y'all, because y'all know me. I'm silly. Y'all get it. Ain't nobody else gonna get that. They're like, Mom, quit posting those wet, crazy, boring captions and put the funny ones in. That's who you are as a person. And so I'm like, no one's gonna get this, in a photo, no one's gonna get it. And they're like, yeah, they are. And so that was pressure. And so, I ended up doing it because in reality, that's really what I created the photo for. Normally it's something funny in my head or something funny somebody did or a relatable story. Like my favorite one is the one of, the doll laying in bed. And I was talking about how she would sit there and two people online that she don't know is in an argument. And, you up for 4 hours in their business. Well, I had did that, like my husband and son had went out of town. And so I had did that 3 nights before that. And I'm like, I don't even know these people. And I'm reading every comment to see who's going to win this argument. And I don't even know these folks. Like, I need to go to bed. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. But then I get up the next day and I get my snacks and my breakfast. I get back in the bed, turn Instagram back on, and I'm back in the comments. Like, what happened while I went to sleep? So I'm like, somebody else has got to have done this besides me. I can't be the only person that get in strangers' complete business and then get their breakfast and stay in bed all morning, reading through comments, telling me, girl, no. See, I would have, no. Having your own little comment. And so a lot of times it's either me or it's just, crazy stuff my friends. I have a crew of doll friends, and just some of the crazy stuff they say. I'm like, yeah, that's got to be in the photo because somebody else has either thought about that or done it, or And with the Christmas ones, I like Christmas, but it's not my favorite holiday. And so I was like, I got to make these funny if I got to do 12 of them. So I decided to do with the Christmas that nobody ever says, like the wrapping of the gifts. Everybody wraps are pretty, and then your family sits there and shred them apart. Why am I making them pretty? I'm just going to put them in a trash bag the next time because y'all don't appreciate it,
Yeah.
Or me, I got to go to an office party and I really don't want to be here. Like, I didn't show up for my 10 minutes, so I'm about to go home. Like, I don't want to be here. Yes. With that photo, I kind of staged the male doll to be kind of looking at it like, the boss, you late. But I think everybody got that, like, you late. The coworkers over there having their drink, and she kind of got the like, yeah, don't talk to me because I really don't want to be here anyway.
Yeah. And then you had the mistletoe one.
That one actually. Oh my goodness, she's gonna kill me. So that came about because my friend had a guy who liked her, and so he decided to try the mistletoe. I'm gonna get a kiss, and he got shut down publicly. It was hilarious.
So that really did happen. Really did good.
At a party, she's sitting on the couch. He come over with the mistletoe. And I'm like, dude, you've done that in a room full of people. Like, you knew. But if you know my friend, that's who she is as a person. Like, she's just gonna tell you. And so when I posted that one, she was like, I can't believe you did that. Like, you remember with that dude. I was like, it was just so funny. But yeah, in a room full of people, she was like, no. Stay in the friend zone. Like, no.
And that's exactly what you had on
Yeah,
there.
and that's exactly what she said too. No. Say, get back to the friend zone. No. And
So I like how you did that. I like how you did that as far as being able to take something that was really realistic and communicate that. You communicated it well in the photo. And you do that throughout all of your photos. Even the one which stays in my mind, the one with the coffee, as far as she was in bed, husband decided to go get her the coffee.
yeah.
She gets the coffee, and then she gets mad at him. And it was relatable because, and that one you did actually, I think you had 3 photos for that one.
Yeah.
And it was relatable as far as like if you're married or if you're in any kind of relationship, you felt it on both ends, because as a woman, you're like, okay, I need you to wake me up. And then as a man, he's like, oh, and I mean, I'm not saying that the roles couldn't change,
Right.
but in that particular photo, as the husband, he was like, I'm going to do something nice for her. Then he was still in the doghouse for doing something nice. So he kind of, and the way that you did the lighting really did show that he felt, he felt kind of bad. He was like, I was trying to do something nice, but I guess it wasn't the right thing to do.
Right.
And she was still getting on him, but they just had like this really tender moment of being in the bed together. So, and that's relatable to being married. Like, how many of us have had tender moments together, and then in an instant, it's like, why didn't you wake me up? Why didn't you do this? And it doesn't matter about the coffee or anything like that. The good deed, we'll talk about the good deed later. Right now, it's just the fact of being, I told you, wake me up.
Yeah.
So I like how you did that. And it didn't take, a full storyline to do it. You were able to condense it in those 3 photos. And once again, you used your lighting as part of the personality and to set the mood for what your story was going to tell. So I liked how you did that. And you don't have to tell me if it was a true story or not, but but I do. I like how you did that. One of the other things that I wanted to ask you, because I've already talked to you about how you were able to interact with it, with your dolls. One of the other things I wanted to ask you was, what made you choose storylines instead of just posting your photos and maybe talking about, now I know that you do have another page where you do talk about how you made your dioramas and how you did the lighting, and I picked how you were going to do your particular diorama scene, and that's another page that you have. But on this particular page with Nisha K, you have your photos as your storyline.
Right.
So what made you decide to go with storylines versus just putting the pictures up there?
I think it was just, I've been doing this for so long. I think it just got to the point where without, you can describe something to somebody all day long, but everybody is pretty much going to have, because of their own, personalities or how they live life, they're going to see things differently. And so for me, it was kind of like, well, let me at least give this little bit of a story, and then they can take it however they want to at that point. I didn't give you the groundwork. Now you can envision or, take it. I kind of noticed a lot of times when I would do dialogue that people didn't always get it. And I would get frustrated because I'm like, that's not where I was trying to go with this, or that's not what I was trying to say. And so now I just kind of give you a little bit and, cut it, keep it real short. And, that drives home the point. This is what I'm talking about. And then, okay, let's move on. I said what I said, and then let's move on. But I think it was just, I really didn't know what to caption anymore. You can only describe a room so many times. And then there's a lot of people on my page that, they're not really interested in the diorama part. They want to be entertained in some way. I think we all do, especially during COVID. You want to be entertained some way. So, let me a little short, funny little story. They're teleworking, they're kind of hee-heeing on the side, even though they know they're not supposed to be on Instagram. Supposed to be teleworking, or they, or like me, teleworking and still building dioramas. And like, no, that's not a doll in the background, I promise you. And so for me, I kind of wanted that interaction with the miniature and not just really, I don't consider myself a fashion person. You know, there's people that have, and I follow some amazing accounts that can just dress their dolls in fashion and the hair, you know, and the posing, and it is on point. That's
Yes.
not my skill set. I love, you know, interior design. I love furniture, but at the same time, it gets a little boring, you know, just seeing a doll in a diorama. For me, you know, there's other people that do it, and, you know, that's their thing. That's fine. I mean, I follow other diorama people that do it. It's not, but for me, you know, I just think it needs to be a little, there needs to be a point of why she's in that diorama. There needs to be a point of why I created this room instead of just, it's just a pretty room. So.
I like that. Point of why. Now, for me, when I see your dolls are, I know you say you're not into fashion, but your dolls are always dressed very nice. Like, even whenever they're having their lazy days or they're just not, you know, they're not doing a, they're not doing a big event or anything, they always look nice. So I really do. I commend the way that they look. I commend the way that you do your interior design. Now, what made you choose Integrity dolls instead of Barbie?
I started off as collecting Barbie, and then I can't even remember. It's been forever. I saw my first Adele doll, and, you know, she kind of reminded me of family members, the women in my life. And so I had to have her. And it was really at that point, because, you know, now Barbie has articulation way better than Integrity Joyce. I'm not going to lie on that part. It was because at that time, Barbie really didn't. And I wanted them to interact in the room, you know, to be able to sit on the sofa, you know, pick something up, you know, open a door. And I think now it's just, I've been with Integrity Tours for so long, and I just really kind of love their dolls that I just never kind of switched back. I really want to get back into the made to move dolls. I don't know. I don't like having to buy a whole bunch of different clothes. So it's kind of a lazy thing. But
I understand.
And so that's really kind of it at the time. You know, I kind of moved away from Barbie and kind of moved to IT and kind of stayed there. Also, I think I just expressed myself a lot better with their dolls, especially the New Face and the Poppies. To me, my characters, if you would say, are in their 20s, middle 20s. So, you know, they're going through all that 20 part of your life where, you know, you're kind of going through everything at one time. Relationship issues, work issues, trying to find yourself. Who am I?
Yeah.
You know, and so I kind of like that to explore because, you know, when you're in 20s, you kind of try and do everything, you know, trying to figure out who you are. And being 45 now, you know, I kind of know and comfortable with who I am. And so I kind of like, you know, showing that it's okay, you know, to be at that point and not know. You'll get there, you know, but kind of having with it at the same time. You know, it's more about experience too, you know. I'm older and, you know, I have younger people on my page. So I kind of want them to know it's okay to be an introvert or to spend time by yourself or, you know, not to have it all together at that point in time in your life. So, and I try to keep it positive instead of negative. This is my happy place. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of feel like, I kind of want people to come to my page and, you know, relax and chill and, you know, look at a nice photo and, you know, or maybe laugh at the caption and, you know, kind of put a smile on their face for the rest of the day. That's pretty much my main goal. If I didn't make you smile, then, you know, I'm happy. Or made you curious, you know, make the photo bigger. Like, what is that in the background? What? You know, that's a miniature? You know, hey, no, they had that in miniature. So, yeah.
I like that. I like that. And my husband, because he does photography, so he'll always talk to me about other photographers, just like you said, makes the picture bigger in order to catch all the details and, you know, in order to see, you know, like, is the lighting filtered throughout the whole photo. So I'm glad that you did bring that up. One of the other things, because we are talking about photography, do you believe that someone who may not have as strong of a background in photography would be able to put out a picture in storyline form as easily?
I do. I don't think you really need to have a strong background. I think as long as you know what you're trying to say, then I think that's the point. There's so many accounts now that, you know, one that I follow. I mean, her photos is strong, but she has an amazing storyline. Is I'm not probably gonna say her name right. It's Miss Gall, Gal, Miss.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
um,
MS Gal,
yes, yes,
19. Yes,
yes. And
yes,
so she, you know,
yes.
she has an extremely strong storyline. I mean, when I read hers, it's kind of like I'm, you know, in a soap opera. I kind of forget that I'm looking at dolls in a way, and so. And I don't know if she's using a DSLR or, you know, she's using her smartphone. At that point, it doesn't really matter. You know, you're so engrossed in these characters that it doesn't really matter. And so I don't think you have to have a strong background. If you're using your smartphone and you can, you know, create these detailed, you know, strong storylines, that's all that matters. But I mean, but like you said, as a writer, as a photographer, it goes back to the details. As long as you have the details there for your viewers to automatically know what they're looking at or what you're talking about, and that you can pull them in, then that's all that really matters, regardless if your photography is not at that level or not. You know, that's all that really matters.
I like that. I like that. The importance of the details. And it is really important. And one of the things that you had mentioned earlier, just to backtrack, was that you had said really getting into why. Like, why is she sitting here?
Yeah.
Why is, you know, why this particular diorama? And so that's something that you do have to address when you're doing dioramas. So when you're doing storyline, is why. My husband says what, the what, when, where, and how, all those questions. And that's really going to help guide you when you write your storyline, or if you're doing a complete story, as you said, and a picture. You need to be able to address those questions and also be able to provide details. Like I like to give my details more with the words, slowly going into more with the props and being able to have all the details in the background. That's one of my aspirations to get into. But right now I'm not able to as much because I do have all my kids, and so I don't really have like a permanent studio set up. So I have to always collapse things and put it away and put it in a box and so forth. And then I have my time schedule, a little time block that I work with as far as being able to do that. So I admire whenever I see people's work such as your own that has such wonderful details, and you have so many different props that you use, and you make your own props, you know, and you just really do allow your lighting to also speak as a character. So I admire that with your work. And so I definitely commend you on what you're doing. And I say definitely keep on doing it. I'm going to, oh, yes. Yes, I'm going to open it up for anyone if you have any questions. I know there were a lot of comments that I didn't get a chance to address. But let's see here. Some of the comments that have been said. People said how they really did enjoy your work, love integrity. Yes, the dolls are always fabulous. It's like your dolls are accessories to your rooms. Yes. Integrity dolls are beautiful, but I love Barbies, and both of them really, well, thank you. That's what it says, well, thank you. I'm still there. Someone gave you
Barbies.
an A++++.
But I still love Barbies. I do have one.
Yeah.
Where I did a hybrid. So I put a integrity doll's head on a Barbie body, and
oh, really?
She's doing a meditation pose. I can't do that with integrity, and so that's actually one of my favorite photos. So I do kind of plan incorporating that a little bit more because I like the face sculpts on integrity, but I like the body on Made to Move as kind of, you know, making that hybrid for myself, so I can even do more scenes, because there's some scenes I just can't do without integrity, or to get my point across, because, you know, I just can't put their body in that pose. And so poses for me, to make them as realistic as possible, is important. So a lot of the times I can't complete that storyline because, you know, her body language isn't going to relay what I want her to relay.
I understand that. And I personally don't have any integrity yet, but I have seen from the photos how how their joints are around the legs and the arms. And then the difference with of course, Made to Move bodies and their articulation. So there is a difference. There is another comment. This is amazing. I could listen to y'all all day. Someone said, oh yeah, that was a good one.
Well, I do want to address, is it Misha Alon? I don't know if I'm saying your username right, but she says, I don't have a complete setup either. I need that in 2021. I do want to address the fact that, that I have been doing this a long time, a long time. I've probably been collecting miniatures and dolls for the past 15, 16 years. So please take your time. I don't want anyone to think that my dioramas or collections came overnight. And please don't go outside of your financial means to get it that way. It just takes time and patience, and you'll get there. When I started, I didn't have none of this either. But, you know, you just keep looking, keep thinking outside of the box, keep searching. I will say this, that PlayScale is a lot more accessible than when I first started out. Thank goodness. I didn't have Etsy, and eBay was really kind of limited. And there wasn't a lot of people that created in 1/6 scale. So now there is a lot more, and it's a lot more affordable than it used to be. So just give yourself time in accumulating the details. You can still do an amazing story scenes without it. And when you do go and buy, if you have limited funds, think of a decor style and then stick with it. Don't buy outside of that decor. If your style is boho chic, then only look for pieces that are boho chic. And you really only need to invest in the heavy pieces. So like sofas and chairs, which are going to be more expensive, but accessories, you can go to Walmart or Target or Michael's or Hobby Lobby or thrifting or, you know, anywhere to kind of find those pieces. But I mean, I just don't want people to think that you have to have an abundance of miniatures in order to get their story across. As long as you're putting in those detailed pieces that conveys your story, then you're fine. You don't have to have an overabundance of them.
I agree. I fully agree. Because you don't want anyone going broke.
Right.
When this, you know, and then it becomes stressful, and it's not a fun, you know, hobby. It's not,
yeah.
You know, it's not like your actual escape from the rest of the world.
Yes.
It becomes something that, you know, now your dolls are becoming more stressful than what it needs to be.
Right.
So what I always like to stick to scripture wise is, despite not small beginnings, you know, however which way you got to start off with, even if it's not a whole lot, you know, you just make it work, because the main thing is being able to enjoy what you're doing. And then, just like you said, you said you've been doing this for 15 plus
yes.
years of collecting. So, you know, my collection, I just really started again. So my collection is going to be different than where you're at. And then, you know, vice versa for someone that's been doing it for 30 years or something of that nature. They're going to have more props and more accessories. That's just, you know, how things go. But the longer that we stay in it,
yes.
the more that we're going to be able to grow. So that's one of the key things to be able to know. I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of comments. Someone said, thank you, Nisha. And that was Misha Milan, 9019. She said, thank you. And then Southern Doll Charm said, can you talk about your natural light use?
Yes. So for me, I only use natural light in my photography. So I think I have a couple on my stories, but basically what I do is I take my room box, and whatever window that is closest to, I position it next to my own window in my house. So I have a table, and I position that diorama or that open window right next to it. I don't have my dioramas, they're 3 walls, so I don't have anything on the top. So I have light coming in that way. And then I have light from the window. And if I need more light, then I'll just take a white poster board, prop it up. You can't see it in the photo, but prop it up on the other side to bounce that light to make it even all the way through. And that's really all I do, is just take a cheap, you know, $2.50 white poster board and just bounce that light from the window so that you get consistent light all the way through. But I will say that you don't necessarily have to have bright light. Whatever light I have on the day that I shoot my dioramas is pretty much how my story is going to be conveyed. If I got moody, dark lighting, then, you know, I'm just going to roll with it. I can only shoot on the weekends because I work during the day. So, you know, and I don't get home in time enough to do anything. So most of my dioramas are shot on Saturday and, you know, Sundays. But, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is just getting it as close to a window that has really good light as possible. If that's your kitchen, your bedroom, your office, the hallway, the door, I've shot in my entryway with the door open on the floor in order to get that light. If that's what you got to do, then, you know, your neighbors may think you crazy, but I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
I know. It's true.
My neighbors are quite used to seeing me laying down in the driveway shooting something. So, you know, they don't even stop and ask if I'm okay anymore. They just keep going. So, you know, I'm trying to think of anything else for natural light. But that's probably the cheapest method, is to put it near a window or a door, and then put that poster board on the opposite end of that window and just bounce that light all the way through, and to get the best natural lighting.
I agree. I do. And I mean, natural light, you can't really go wrong with it. I know that some of my earlier photos I was able to do with the natural light. I haven't been able to go out and do it since, but it's been a while. But when I did do the natural light, I was really pleased with the overall photo itself, because you really didn't have to do very much as far as the editing process. So I'm thankful that you were able to give out that tip. Anyone else have any questions or any comments? We thank you for being with us on the Saturday, and I thank you for being here with me.
Thank you
that
for
was a
setting
huge
this
honor.
up. I was so nervous.
Yeah, this was your first live, so I thank you.
Yes, this was fun. So thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for thinking of me.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to the rest of the photos, because you said you shoot during the weekend, so I'm looking forward to these new photos that you're going to be putting out.
Yes, it kind of took me for a minute. You know, the kiddo has had mama busy. So, like I said, unfortunately, I don't get to shoot every weekend like I would want to, but I have probably about 2 or 3 that's behind me that's, you know, in various stages. So when I get off of here, I'm going to put on my 90s R&B and, you know, blast it and pretty much finish them so I can photograph them tomorrow. That's pretty much my work schedule. I design at night and then shoot during the day. So
I understand that. I understand that. I do. I usually get up early in the morning and try to do it while my kids are still sleeping, before we have school time and, you know, breakfast and all this stuff. And so I fully understand. And then, you know, life happens.
Yes.
Life happens. This week for us, I really didn't get a chance to do very much pictures, the storyline, or anything of that nature, because we had a lot of doctor's appointments and hospital run. And so we just kind of had to go. And then we had a birthday yesterday. So we just kind of had to go with the flow, because, you know, that's the thing about it. This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something that you're able to enjoy and not make it a stressful process. Because when it's something you enjoy, you know that you're going to end up doing it. You know you're going to end up getting to it because it's on your mind to do. But you don't want to do it to the point where it wears you out and it's not enjoyable when you actually do the pictures.
I agree.
Someone asked one more question, because they said they were young and they don't want to go broke. Lisa Milan 9019 said, how much does things cost at Michael's? I never really go there.
Well, I love Michael's because they have a coupon. So if you join a little app or online thing, you get your 40% off coupon. Most Michael's have a miniature section. It is 1/12 scale, but 1/12 scale really works in 1/6 scale. If you think about it, when we have things in our own house, it's various sizes. Nothing is all the same size. So you can start off buying, which is what I did, 1/12 miniatures, and use them in 1/6 scale. And then right now it's their fall spring. So they have a lot of these little miniature plants that I think is like $1.99. And then if you catch them on sale, which they're on sale most of the time, that's another 40% off. So now you got an instant, you know, garden with, you know, these little already potted little faux plants. Target, I shop the Target dollar spot section for miniatures all the time, decor. I mean, there's so many cost-effective ways for you to do a diorama. For art, you can use stickers. I do that quite often, you know. Felt for rugs. I mean, I could go on and on. But I tried to answer much of that on By Nisha K, which is why I created that one, is to kind of help people that are at the beginning stages of doing dioramas to kind of know what to buy and what's out there. One of my
Can you say that handle again? So do you mind saying that handle again? Is that your second page?
Yes, that's my second page. So By Nisha K is dedicated just to miniatures. I don't have dolls on that page. And normally I do a lot of tutorials or talking about how to set up a diorama or how to buy stuff for a diorama in order to help people that is either curious or they're just starting out. I don't make anything. If I tweak it, is because I didn't bought it and I spray painted a different color because I don't like hot pink decor. So this is mainly for people that are not creative in that way, where you can, you know, go out and make everything yourself. And so I try to help them as cost effective as possible, and to give them
Yeah.
resources so that they can go out and buy their own and create dioramas. I don't think being able to make stuff yourself can be the only requirement for doing dioramas. If you want to do dioramas and you're not a crafty person, you should still be able to get to have fun with that. That's my belief anyway. So.
I agree. Now, with your room boxes, do you make that yourself?
No. So those are made
Oh,
by different artists. So either I do custom, or either I buy sets that are already done. But
okay.
yeah, all of those are done by various different artists that make room boxes. And all my furniture is made by different, I refer to them as artists, but all my room boxes,
They are.
yeah, are done by very.
They truly, truly are. Because I actually, because my time, I have 9 children, and now my husband and I are about to have number 10. So I'll see boxes. Thank you. That's why you see me keep tugging on my shirt, because it just keeps folding right here. But I'll see a big box and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make that into my diorama, but then time escapes me.
Yes.
And then when I do it, it's not really how I had imagined it in my head, or, you know, I'm not able to put the time into it like I really know I could have. But hey, I have to go ahead and, you know, we're working on a research paper and child has a question. I need to go ahead and talk to them about this, or, you know, I need to make the food, or they just want to sit and talk for a minute and you want to, you know, put that time in. Or I'm too tired right now to really do the diorama. So I was looking into Etsy myself as far as with my next room box. And there are, just like you said, there are a lot of artists and artisans who are on there who have room boxes. They're actually affordable.
Yeah.
That you can, you know, I believe, like, from what I understood, because I haven't bought one yet, I was just looking through what they have, but it seems like you make the purchase and they send you the kit and then you kind of put it together yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm understanding, because that's what I was trying to find out myself. I was like, I think I put this together myself and I can paint it whatever color that I would like to. But that's actually the next route that I'm about to take, because of what my time is looking like.
And I think
and you know, if anything,
right now 1/6 scale is the kits, because then you can customize it yourself, and it kind of is at low cost. You're still being crafty in a way, but you're not having to cut it, you know, put the windows in, measure, you know, you just get it put together and do the fun part. I mean, so, you know, you can do that in a weekend if you have the time. So I think kits are probably the best way to start most people diorama journeys if they don't want to make it themselves. So yeah.
I agree. And then that way you have no excuse as far as letting anything hold you back. So if you have the money to be able to afford to get in, they're not that much. And on top of that, you're supporting other artists.
Yes.
And that's one of the most important things, is being able to support each other. So if you're able to purchase the kit and get it, it gets you even quicker on being able to, you know, see your actual craft and your art take form in photography, and being able to create your storyline with it. So don't let anything hold you back. Don't let anything hold you back. And until you're able to get the kit or you're able to make the diorama, still make the pictures. Still make the pictures. Still put the storyline out there. So, you know, don't allow that to hold you back, because you want to be able to have the storyline come out of it. So I don't really have any other questions. I do see that Misha Milan said that helped her out a whole lot, and she was thankful. And you gave a whole lot of wonderful information. And so if you guys have any more questions, someone said I started with 3 foam boards taped together.
Yep, that's exactly how I started at the very beginning too, before I even knew what a room box was foam board. So yeah, another cost-effective way to start doing dioramas.
That's very, very true. Very, very true. So yeah, just get creative with it. Get creative with it. Yeah, so it's just really wow. Yeah, get creative with it.
Yeah.
Make it work for you. Make it work for your budget. And keep your own style. That's one of the things that we had discussed in the previous live. Keep your own style. I admire your work.
Thank you.
I'm not going to be able to do your work, okay? I'm not even going to try. That's your style. And just like you said, you once a month had to redo the whole entire house, you know, with your mom and your siblings, taking everything out and then putting everything back in. And that's what's giving you this amazing taste when it comes to interior decorating. That's not my storyline. No, I mean, that's not part of my history. So I'm not going to be able to do that. And neither should I, because that's what makes what you do so unique. So whatever your history is and your background is, don't lose sight of that.
Right.
You know, it's really easy to see someone that we admire as an artist and be like, I want to do that. Respect other artists and have your own style.
Yes.
So make sure, even when it comes to your storyline,
Yeah.
have your own style. Use and observe what's around you. And I've had someone say that, you know, what they see on TV, they'll create a storyline from, or if they're out and about, they'll create a storyline from, or whatever's going on in their own personal experience, they create a storyline from. Do that. I'm not going to take what you have and be like, I'm going to write that down into my own story. Yeah. That's your own personal experience, and I respect what you have. So that's one of the reasons why I've asked you to come out here, because I do. I admire your work. I respect what you do. I thank you for sharing with us your information and your tips on how you're able to create the things that you do. I'm really looking forward, like I said, to your new photos that you're going to be putting out. And once again, I just really do enjoy how you do with your interaction with your Integrity dolls, and you make yourself a character with them.
Thank you.
That to me is such a unique aspect. I enjoy talking to you. I'm going to be keeping this on here. We're going to be keeping in touch as well.
Of course.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I hope that this helped you guys as far as really knowing about being able to write storylines. You don't have to have a background with it, and you don't have to create a story that or a character. Like I have Gloria in mind. You don't have to have Gloria throughout your whole entire timeline. You can use different characters with your photos, and you can have your photos be separate from each other and still tell a complete story. I love that you said that, a complete story in a photo. You can still tell a complete photo in a complete story in a photo. And I even take that on for myself as wisdom, because although I have the various characters in my story, I still love how you said telling that complete story in one photo, because if someone decides to go on my timeline, I want them to be able to understand what's going on without having to go all the way back. If they just see that one post, I want them to be able to understand what's going on without having to go all the way back in order to catch up.
Yes.
Well, I like that. I love that bit of wisdom that you just shared. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss?
No.
Okay. Well, I thank you for letting me take up your time on a Saturday. I thank your family for letting me take up your Saturday.
Yeah, I'll let them know. They're probably waiting.
Yes. And you tell me what it's like during one of our conversations, having some that are leaving the nest. Because my oldest is 12, so I don't really know what any of that is like. I'm about to sit Gloria down, but I have no clue what any of that is like.
It's crazy.
You know, we're just going through the teenage stage right now, and that's different for me. And I'm an only child.
Oh.
And my oldest is a boy, so that's a different experience. It is. It really is.
It's just, oh goodness, it's a beast in and of itself.
But I know I'm in the right hobby, because it's going to help me survive.
Yes, it will. You definitely gonna need your dolls for that piece. You definitely gonna need it.
Oh man. Well, I thank you again. And what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you, when I post this, I'm going to put the by Nisha K, your second page on there, okay, so that anyone wants to reference that, just like you said, if you're building tutorials or building a diorama, that will kind of give you a tutorial on how to do it.
All right. Yep, that'll work.
Okay. Well, congratulations again on your schooling, and much success to you, because you said you're halfway done. So I just thank you for being an inspiration in what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And like to say thank you to your husband as well for his service to this country.
I will let him know.
And you as well, because as a wife, you still have you still have to go through a lot with the tours and holding down the house. So thank you guys for what you guys do for us in this country. and being a Black American in this country while still serving.
Thank you.
So I appreciate it.
All right.
So we thank you again.
All right.
You guys have a very awesome Saturday and a good weekend.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.